Vincent Van Gogh, people told him, you can't be a great painter, you only have one ear. You know what he said? I can't hear you.
Listening to Sippin' Sports, a Philly sports talk morning show with Chris, KJ, and Dalt. Proudly powered by 302 Birds. Let's take it to the show.
Good morning. Happy Saturday. Welcome to another episode of Sip and Sports. So, as we always do, we will give you guys that pre-recording disclosure. We are pre-recording this Friday night, October 25th. So on that Saturday, your Flyers will be playing, and we have no clue what the hell is going to happen in the Sixers game. So we'll figure all that out here in a second. But KJ, Chris, how we doing, fellas?
Not too bad.
Yeah, I'm feeling good. I know the Flyers have sucked as of late, but I'm going to my first game. Well, I guess it's today since we're pre-recording. So I'm excited for that. I'm going to see Michkov's first regular season game. Well, my first time seeing Michkov regular season. So I'm excited for that. But coming back, we got back from that Eagles, Giants. Why am I saying Jets? Game from last week, and flying high from that still, for sure. That was fun.
Yeah, that was a blast. I mean, we had the time of our life over there at MetLife Stadium. Chris was there. Dalt was there. Jack. It was a great Jizzle. It was a great freaking time for sure. And we even got to introduce Mikey D to Chris and Dalt and Jack and everybody, and that was awesome. So I think it was fun to gang up on a Giants fan. We didn't mess with them too much though, so that was a good thing because the Eagles did the rest for us.
Yeah, I mean, the game really spoke for itself, like both you guys said, which we will react to that here in a second and everything else as we do. But if you guys are in here, be sure to like it up, share it up, all that good stuff, because when we're pre-recording, those little things really help. They help us to prevent from coming out slow, like the Philadelphia Flyers. See? But Chris, I'll let you go ahead and take it first since you're going to be there today. I mean, what are you looking forward to with the Flyers? What have you not liked with the Flyers? What does this team need to do as a whole?
I mean, they're just a really young team. I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, you got a kid who's what? You got two guys, one who's 18, one who's 19, who are not the face of the team, but they're two young building blocks. And it's just a younger team than we've had in years past, and they're going to struggle at times. It's just it's how it is. I think we got a little bit of a tease with the Flyers last year, the way they were able to come out really hot and, look like they were going to make the playoffs. So it's just, I think we got to kind of bear in with this team. And yeah, it's going to be a long season. They're not going to be a great team, but it's going to be exciting to see these young guys like Michkov. I mean, he had a 2-goal game the one night. And Luchenko, who is 18, like barely 18 years old, the youngest Flyer to ever play. So it's a different season, and it's just going to be in some aspects a long season, because I really don't see them winning that many games this year. I thought it might have been a building block year from last year, and they would have snuck into the playoffs, but they got even younger than they were last year. So we'll see how they can continue to roll through this year. But my expectations aren't too high, and I think that's what makes it fun, is the expectations aren't high.
Yeah,
that's well said. I don't think you could have put it a better way there at the end. That's what makes it fun. KJ?
Yeah, it should be interesting to see what they got. I mean, obviously, right now they are what are they? They're 1-5 right now. I'm pretty sure, right, Chris? They're 1-5. So
They're going to be 2-5.
two
Though.
and 2-5.
They're going to be.
Oh, they're going to be. Yeah, hopefully. Yeah,
I'm
hopefully they
speaking
win.
into existence. Mitch Cobb's having a 6-goal game.
Oh, that'd be awesome. And then hopefully after Sunday, when I'm at the game on Sunday, they'll
He'll
be
have 12
three.
that game.
What's up? He'll have 12.
Yeah.
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 That'll be insane. We'll be 3-5, so we'll be climbing back up on the standing. So that'll be good to see. But yeah, as Chris was just saying, I mean, just to piggyback off that, very young team, a lot of inexperience. I mean, a lot of guys who are just trying to figure out what their role is, and what their job is. So I think this team has a lot of growing to do. And I mean, once everything is really, I mean, the puzzles are in the pieces, I really do feel that this is going to be a good working oil machine for sure. But it's going to take time, as Chris said. It's going to take time, and you got to be patient. I mean, just like we were for the Sixers, and then it just like exploded in our faces and whatever, and now it's still exploding in our faces. So I mean, that's why it's kind of hard for us as Philly fans to kind of trust the whole kind of process kind of thing, especially like a rebuilding kind of process. So we'll see what happens. I do feel like though this will come back and it'll actually be something productive and not something negative. So we'll just gonna have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah, and one more thing before we move on. Mitch Cobb is on pace for a point a game right now. He's got 7 points in 7 games. For a rookie to have a point a game is like, I mean, it's not unheard of, but it's something the Flyers, I don't think, have ever had. So that's one thing to watch out for is, can he continue this pace and get a point a game? He's leading the team in goals already. So, I mean, the guy is 19 years old and showing a ton of flashes already. So he's here, and it's at least I think that's just the thing that excites me. It's almost like when we first got Embiid with the Sixers. You could tell that generational type talent was there, and it's already coming to fruition. And we'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for like you guys have said, for him and Jet, what the two have already done to turn the organization around, it's like it's amazing what a good attitude can do. You know, you almost want to say to Connor Bedard, like, "Hey, this is what could have been if you got your shit together." But I'm so happy it worked out the way that it did. I think it couldn't have worked out better for Flyers fans as well. But the direction that the organization is headed is so refreshing, so awesome, so great to see as a fan. Now, coming out slow. I mean, Chris said it earlier, and I just want to say it again. A team with no expectations is like the best team to root for and watch, because anytime that they do anything, you can go crazy because they suck. We didn't know that with the Phillies this year, obviously. We knew that a couple years ago when the Phillies went to the World Series because nobody really expected them to. Same thing with the Eagles when they won the Super Bowl in 2018, and when they went to the Super Bowl, I guess you could say in 2022, nobody really. So there's something to be said for teams in Philadelphia that have no business being in a championship. There's also something said for, I don't know why, but first-year players or first-year things working out for Philadelphia teams and them ending up in championships, and some guys winning, you know, something in their rookie year. Look at Jake Elliott. That's still a crazy story for the Eagles. But I'll say this about Mishkov. I just love the way that he embraces the city too. Like, you see, I guess he went to the Phillies playoff game a couple weeks back or something, and he was in a parking lot. And there's this random dude. It would be like no different than Chris or KJ or me or somebody that's like a diehard Flyers fan in the parking lot tailgating the Phillies game. Just an average dude walks up and basically is like, "Holy shit, like that's Mishkov." And he's like, "Yo, like, go Phils." And Mishkov, like, who barely speaks any English in the video, is saying, "Go Phils." And he's like embracing it. So when you see somebody that just backs a city like that, buys in, and they've only been here a short amount of time, it's awesome. It's great to see. And speaking of another guy who's only been here for a short amount of time, but he even said it in his own press conference, he feels like he's been here for a while with the way that this team treats him, the way that these fans treat him, top to bottom. And I'm talking about the King of New York. No, JJ Segalo, not you, you motherfucker. I'm talking about the real King of New York, Saquon Barkley. Like, we didn't know what to expect with this game. We knew that Saquon was going to go off. We didn't know which way he was going to give it to him. I mean, he just gave it to him straight. There were a lot of plays, both sides of the ball that were made, but the score, I think, told the story that you needed to know. The Giants had a couple sacks here and there. I'll give them credit where credit's due. But other than that, they really didn't do anything all game. Offensively, they were a catastrophe. The Eagles defense was all over them. I mean, as a fan in the stands, it was great because we were just dominating them. And as a Giants fan, they were all demoralized. Like that one touchdown to A.J. Brown, I saw it in slow motion. I was like eating nachos and I was like, it was crazy. And I just want to say shout out with everybody that shows us the hospitality there year after year, and each other, because that was a pretty fun tailgate that we had going on Sunday, and an even better result. It was like the cherry on top for the drive.
Yeah, it was a great time for sure, and it was great seeing Saquon honestly just get his revenge that he wanted. And I think if you heard the stories beforehand, he was on the team bus. I heard a story that he was on the team bus, and there was a bunch of Giants fans with a pole that had Saquon Barkley's Giants jersey, and they burned it in front of his eyes. And he didn't seem fazed by it. He just took that as motivation. He's just like, you know what, I'm just going to do my job out there. I mean, they're doing that stuff. Obviously, it does seem disrespectful, but that means that they miss me and stuff like that, because they do. And it was, I'll tell you one thing, being at that stadium, hearing the horrific, I don't know if you guys heard it or not. I didn't even get to say it really. And I think it was only from a couple people, but then I also heard it in general, though. People were booing, and they were putting a lot of the hate towards Saquon. There were jerseys that said traitor. There was jerseys that said Snakewan.
Turncoat.
Yeah, something coat or whatever.
KJ had to figure out what turncoat meant. He looked at Mikey D. He's like, "What does turncoat mean?" And Mikey D, yeah, we don't know what turncoat means. That's some Paul Revere shit. Don't worry, KJ. It's nothing to be ashamed of. Like, it's fucking weird ass word. And Mikey D, of course, he's like, well, a turncoat. And then he told us what turncoat meant.
Well, a turncoat is like a coat you don't want to wear.
And we're like, oh, okay. And we looked it up, and sure as shit, Mike was right. And it's basically like an old way to say like traitor. But go ahead, KJ. Don't worry. There's nothing bad about it. Turncoat.
Yeah, that was but that was interesting. I mean, I heard some very vulgar comments about Saquon, not as just a player, but as a man. And it was just it was like all the heat that Philadelphia sports fans get. I mean, it was just, I mean, we've seen it though with New York, and it seems like they don't get too much heat. They came to the Sixers stadium and bought a bunch of our gear, and they burned it in like a pile. And then obviously, I know Saquon leaves, but you're putting all the blame on Saquon himself. But really, when it was your GM that screwed the pooch, he was the main reason. They were blaming the wrong guy. And that's what really ticked me off, because like people are like, oh, he left. He's a traitor. Screw you, Saquon. It's like, no, your GM had a chance to not pay Daniel Jones. It showed that you made the wrong decision, because Daniel Jones didn't even throw for a touchdown in this game. Heck, he hasn't even thrown for a touchdown at MetLife Stadium this year. I mean, he's just a joke. And when the heck in your head did you think it was any bit of a good idea to be like, you know what, I'm going to give him this much of a contract that he doesn't deserve and not pay your running back? And I get it, sometimes you don't want to pay a running back sometimes, because the running back position, it's just not as valuable as the quarterback position. But Daniel Jones is not valuable. That's the problem. He's not valuable. So I don't see why the heck. Like, it's almost like when the Titans, they decided, okay, you know what? We're going to trade away A.J. Brown. Another bonehead general manager decision by an organization. And I mean, the Eagles are just a team to find out, and they're able to swoop in and get Saquon. So, I mean, kudos to Howie for honestly getting Saquon here, making him feel at home, and I mean, we're just making him feel at home with the fans, and that's great to see. Because I mean, even though there were so many Saquon haters there were a lot of people there that were supporting Saquon, and we loved seeing him get in the end zone twice. That was electric. I mean, we were going insane. That was just it almost felt like, even though it wasn't a home game, you had enough
It
Eagles
was a
fans.
home game.
Yeah, you had enough Eagles fans there to make it feel like it was a home game. So that
And the
was
one thing I want to say too, Mac, off of your point,
yeah.
there were mostly Saquon jerseys there for Eagles fans. Like most of the Eagles jerseys were Saquon jerseys.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool to see, like, fire fought with ice. You know what I mean? With
Yeah.
the Giants. Like, they're going to wear their turncoat jerseys or their other Giants jerseys. We're all decked out in Saquon. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that was cool to see.
Yeah. Yeah. What's up?
I think the one thing that truly speaks to how great, not just on the field Saquon is, but just as a person in general, is when Sirianni went to him and asked him if he wanted to stay in the game. He's got 13 yards to tie his career high. And this was like the end of the third quarter. Like, he would have beat that record, no problem. He said, let the young dogs eat. That is just like such a selfless thing. He could have broke his career high against his former team, and he sits back there and said, you know what? Let Gainwell get some carries. Let Will Shipley get some carries. That's just it's incredible. Not only the player they got, but the person they got as well. And I think a lot of this stuff with the Giants fans, it's jealousy because they know what he is. And I mean, I really feel bad for Jizzle because he was out there he was on the verge of tears. Like, it was just because, I mean, this was a lot of Giants fans' favorite player. I mean, they've had some really bleak years, and the one thing they had is a running back who would go and burst off a big 30-yard run here and there. Well, Saquon did that 3 times in one game and ran the fastest he ever did in his career against his former team. So just to see the way Saquon was, it's incredible. I'm so glad he's an Eagle. I'm glad it was only 17 carries he had to do. Let's keep these carries down. Let's keep them healthy. Let's keep rolling.
It's hard to watch that. You're right. I mean, I get Jizzle's pain too. And shout out to Jizzle too if he's listening to the show. We love you, man. Thanks for hosting us as always. But that's gotta suck too, to see your favorite player go to your right. Like, that was the one thing that all the Giants fans kept saying is he could have picked any other team. But at the end of the day, you got to go to who's giving you the best money. You got to go to who's giving you, the best opportunity to win a Super Bowl. And Saquon probably looked across, the NFC East a long time ago. I think longer than you guys think, and thought, maybe the grass is literally and metaphorically greener on the other side. And it ended up being greener.
Yeah.
So
yeah, better turf as well.
Yeah, there you go as well. But it was nice to see too. Go ahead. Did you want to say something, Chris?
Do you think that he wanted to get taken out of the game a little bit so he didn't get hurt on that turf again?
Yes. I actually am glad that you asked that. I think that there's part of that to it too. Like, there's almost like, okay, these guys are going like ham, hard as fuck. And I just went ham, hard as fuck the whole game. And obviously, I just proved myself. It's almost like he has nothing else to prove. So why go out there when they're all playing bully ball, looking to kill him, looking to, hurt him, looking to, ruin his season? Not saying they're looking to injure somebody, but they're looking to put him on his ass, which could hurt him. And I think it was strategic, but it was also selfless. So it was a combination of the two where it just worked out. I don't think he knew when he did it, though, that it would be this whole media thing. I don't think he knew that at all. So Eagles defense, though, I mean, that was the one thing I want to highlight as well. It was so appetizing, wholesome, whatever word you want to use to describe it. I had a bunch of them when we were there, but it was just great to see a nice Eagles complete win, and especially defensively. I mean, Vic Fangio, you got to give credit due where credit's due, and he has really had this team playing, I think, on a whole other level to where they've been in tune. They know what the offense is going to run before the offense runs it, and they seem like wizards of the game. They seem like technicians. And I haven't been able to say that about the Eagles defense in at least the season since Gannon was here. So it is very, very nice to see that, and very refreshing that he's got these guys playing top tier ball. He's got these guys, doing the things that they need to be doing and coming in prepared, because that's your defensive coordinator's job at the end of the day, is to make sure your team is prepared. We all know Sean Desai did not have anybody prepared. Well, Brian Johnson too. I guess that's why my brain said that. But Sean Desai was basically non-existent as a defensive core. I don't even know if he talked in a locker room. I never heard him say anything, and I can't remember any of his press conferences. So you need somebody that can kind of be like that old head. I know that was kind of our beef. I want to go back to that because we all said it, myself especially, when Vic came here. We were hypothetically scared of Vic because his age and his way to connect with this team. Some of the things that people were saying, like Brandon Graham, Vic, he's going to be stuck in his ways. But maybe it's a good thing. Maybe Vic Fangio, like we've thought, knows what he's doing. And maybe this is his final swan song, and it's going to be a benefit for the Eagles. But, I mean, golly, the past 2 weeks, I think no touchdowns allowed or something I saw too, which is like fucking nuts for a defensive coordinator.
Yeah, and the one thing that Vic Fangio is really doing is finding a way to make adjustments and get struggling players into a better position. I mean, Bryce Huff the other day looked tremendous. He looked like the player that we signed, like that we thought we were getting when we signed. And for him, okay, he feels more comfortable out of this stance than the other stance. And I trashed him for that in our pregame conference, in our pregame podcast. And what does he do? He goes out there and gets a sack. So I'm glad they are, making adjustments, and a secondary is playing extremely, extremely well. Quinyon Mitchell, man, he's just like, he's locked down. Like Malik Neighbors is going to be a hell of a receiver in the NFL. He already is a hell of a receiver in the NFL. He had one catch against Quinyon Mitchell for like 6 yards. It's just incredible what he's doing out there. Yeah, I know the interceptions aren't there, but when you can just trust that you can have a rookie out there against legit wide receivers, it's just such a comforting thing. And same with Cooper DeJean. He's been tremendous. And yeah, I've busted on Slay for a while, but he was really good the other day as well. So to see these guys starting to gel as a unit now, it's really good to see. And hopefully this pass rush continues to do what the pass rush did this week. Because they look like they're cooking on all aspects. And even, Nakobe Dean had 2 sacks. Like, you look every single aspect of this defense. Defensive tackles, defensive ends, linebackers, corners, safeties. They were all over the field on Sunday. And if they can continue to do that, you're looking at a top 5 defense in the NFL if they can hold that up. Now, it's the Philadelphia Eagles. So are they going to hold that up? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was, I know Dalt was just saying before, in 2 weeks, we haven't let up a touchdown. I will say this, though. We did play against 2 of the worst teams in the NFL. That is one of the, I guess you can, it's one of the obvious points, I guess you could say. But it is still impressive. I still feel like it is, because I think they're also using these 2 games as building blocks for them to still keep aggressive as a defense, as Chris pointed to before. Nakobe Dean, I mean, that's great to see a linebacker getting 2 sacks. Really, in this kind of game, in this kind of era right now, you really don't see too many linebackers getting sacks, especially with the Eagles. I mean, I don't really remember ever seeing an Eagle really get a crazy game of multiple sacks like that. So he looked awesome. I mean, he looked like the linebacker we really wanted him to be, and hopefully he can keep it up. I mean, I don't know if they're going to keep him going with the blitz again, but we'll see. I mean, Vic Fangio, I think this was a good 2 weeks to test out the defense and really see what kind of potential they have, and really try to see what he can do to actually help mold this defense into, as Chris was saying before, and maybe an elite defense. Not saying they are an elite defense, because they did just play 2 of the worst offenses in the league, but this could be a building block for sure. And it was really cool to see Quinn, as Chris was saying as well, Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean out there really just locking down these receivers. Now, they aren't the best receivers. Malik Neighbors, obviously a rookie, but you got some other guys too, like Wandale Robinson, who's on one of my fantasy teams. I mean, he's a pretty decent receiver. He wasn't really getting anything at all. So yeah, it was really good to see those young guys really go at it and really just like keep the fort locked down. So that was good. And yeah, to see Bryce Huff, I mean, at first I was saying this with Jack. Me and Jack were actually at the beginning of the game. We were really trying to study what Bryce Huff. See, I caught myself there, Dalton. I caught myself. Bryce Huff was doing, and we noticed at first that he was kind of jogging. He was jogging when he was going for a blitz, and we're like, okay, this is where it seems like he doesn't want to play. He doesn't want to be here. But then I think it was either in the second quarter or the third quarter, he actually went full throttle. And I think what Chris was saying before, he went in a different stance. I think Vic Fangio said, okay, do your stance that you are used to here at MetLife Stadium. Do it where you used to do it best, and go at the quarterback. And that's what he did, and he got a sack. So that was great to see. And they looked really good. So hopefully they can keep it up. I mean, you got an offensive line in the Bengals, which is almost as bad as the Giants, but they're a little better. So, I mean, you could try and expose that offensive line. So, I mean, if they do that, that'll be great. And they can maybe shut down Joe Burrow this weekend.
Yeah, I think you guys both pretty much hit the nail on the head with the defense. Moving along now to our Sixers. KJ, I'll let you go ahead and take this one first. So the Sixers are playing right now. I haven't even looked at the score for an update, but it's not looking good from the intro game on, I guess you could say, the season opener on Wednesday. Embiid and George both not playing. But what's up with this team, man? What's going on?
So right now I believe they are winning. It says they're winning. I think that it says they're winning 27-26. It's still really early. This team right now is actually, and I really hope that and I know I'm saying this as a Sixers fan, I want them to get fined for what they're doing. I want them to get fined for the load management crap that they're doing. They should get fined, because you're paying Joel Embiid this crazy amount of money, and it's for him to play, not to watch, not to just manage his injuries and everything like that. I get what you're trying to do, but dude, we're paying this guy, and it just bothers me a lot. It really does. As a basketball fan, as a fan of who believed in Embiid, and I'm starting to not really believe in the guy, and hopefully I can get that belief back. I really hope we can as Sixers fans, but it's hard to really believe in that when you realize that Embiid actually isn't really hurt right now. They're really trying to rest him right now, and that just doesn't rub me the right way at all. It just doesn't. Paul George, that's a different story. Paul George is actually injured. We saw that he was playing the preseason. He injured it could have been a horrible injury to his knee. Could have been way more horrific, but he'll be back in, like, I think it said this game, and then the next game, he should be back in like 2 more games. So we'll see PG back on the court for the Sixers. But I like, though, the rotation they have. I know that they didn't have that good of a game against the Bucks. I really do feel like this rotation is really deep. And I like that, because we haven't had that for a while. We haven't really had a rotation where we feel like, okay, we're confident with our sixth man or our ninth man on the team, where we feel like, you know what, he can come in and he can fill the void of where, like, if Embiid does get injured or somebody does get injured or somebody's struggling. So that's the main thing I feel like with the Sixers. So I mean, obviously they didn't have a good game. But let's see what else they can do when they get back Embiid and Paul George. Let's just see. But I am not happy with the whole load management crap. I just think it's total bull crap to the diehard fans, especially the ones that paid for the home opener. I mean, expecting that they were going to see Embiid and Paul George, and the team didn't tell them till last minute. So that was screwed up. I really do feel like that was screwed up.
Yeah, this is the least excited I've been for a Sixers team in years. And you guys both know I wasn't thrilled on the whole Paul George signing. Like, I just didn't think it moved the needle at all. And now you got Joel Embiid, who's ramping up to play. It's like, he was fine when he played in the Olympics, and they're saying he didn't get it hurt in the Olympics. So what the hell is he ramping up for? What's he not doing in the offseason? Like, you just paid this dude nearly $200 million over 3 years. And he's not ready to play basketball. What is going on? Like, this is just like a joke at this point. If Joel Embiid's not serious about basketball, then why the hell is he on the team? I know he's a hell of a player, but why is he not ready? He's like, it's a joke at this point. And I feel like these people who pay money for season tickets should get their money back. Because now you're saying, oh, he's not going to play back-to-backs. So how many games is he going to play at home? Like, you got people paying for season tickets, and they're not going to see the best player in the NBA for majority of those games for load management. It's bullshit. He's not even hurt. And if he is hurt, how did he get hurt? It's a whole nother situation here. And then, the Sixers are probably going to dock draft picks because they don't know how to fucking manage shit. It's a really bad organization. They got too much shit going on. The team wants to move to Center City now. Like, it's a joke. Josh Harris needs to sell this damn team already. Like, go focus on the Commanders. Goodbye. Get the fuck out of Philadelphia. You're a bum. I'm tired of this shit with the Sixers. Like, just in mediocrity. We started this whole process because we couldn't get past the second round. We still can't get past the fucking second round. What is going to change here? Nothing. Nothing has changed. Let's just keep signing aging superstars and act like it's going to help. Well, now you got two aging superstars, because I don't know how much longer Joel Embiid's going to be able to play. If he can't play back-to-backs now, why did you sign him to a $200 million deal? It's a joke.
Yeah,
They
it doesn't make any
operated
sense.
on the
It
heart.
really doesn't make any sense. Josh Harris is a joke of an owner in general. And I agree with Chris. The problem is, though, he's so entitled and he just doesn't care about the fans at all, which it's funny, though, because Commanders fans are like, oh, Josh Harris, what a great owner he is. I'm going to tell you this right now, Commanders fans. I'm going to tell you this right now. He's a horrible owner. Horrible. Obviously, he's no Snyder. He's no Snyder, but he's
Yeah,
a
I'm
horrible
gonna say
owner.
that's what we were all about to say. They had Dan Snyder to work
Yeah,
with
he's no
before.
Snyder, but he just doesn't care about. I mean, he's got too many teams right now, and obviously the Commanders are his priority right now. It's his baby, and I mean the Sixers are
Sixers
just
fans
his
are just a number
teenage.
to him.
Yeah, the Sixers are just his teenage child. That's what it is with the Sixers. That just goes in his room and just plays video games. That's what it is to him.
Yeah, it's just with the Sixers, it's what the hell's going on every week. And I haven't even watched the game yet. I won't watch the game tonight. I might go to a game or two this year, maybe. But I'm starting to wonder if maybe it's not the Sixers, if maybe it's not the Flyers. Maybe it's Wells Fargo. Because how the fuck are these two teams this consistently fucked up like this? I don't know. I really don't. They're like, KJ's right. I mean, it's funny, KJ. I had redheaded stepchild written down in my notes, but the thing I had written down was the Sixers are like a Cheeto. at a fancy cheese tasting. They are just out of their own league all the time. You look at all the other, and that was in regards to all the other Philly sports teams, like the Flyers, the Eagles, the Phillies, the Eagles and Phillies specifically. Yeah, they haven't won the big one in a couple of years, but at least they get there. Like, at least they've gotten there in the past couple of years. There's something to be said for that. The Sixers can't even fucking get there. They're like the little engine that fucking couldn't, and they're not getting any better. So at this point, it's just like, I guess what I'm trying to say with Embiid and this injury thing is you guys are right. There is no injury. There's no problem. But when I heard Nick Nurse talk about it the other day, I honestly couldn't blame the guy because he said it like this. He said, look, the one thing we haven't tried yet with Embiid is getting him to the playoffs healthy. So I think that the Sixers are going to slick and slide their way into whatever way they can get Embiid into the playoffs playing healthy. If it costs them some money and some fines, whatever. Like, I think that they are really all in on winning a championship this year. And the top priority for the Sixers in winning a championship is making sure Joel is healthy. And I think that by doing this, they're looking to protect him because he can prove it during the regular season. He's done that. As far as how do I feel about that, it's not a good product on the court. It's not a good product for your fans, and it is not fair to season ticket holders, which is why I don't even want to waste my breath anymore on the Sixers.
But
Sorry.
I will say one more thing, though. I also feel like if you don't play them together, though, as we said before, they're not going to have any chemistry. So then when the playoffs do come up, where the heck's going to be the chemistry? So hopefully these guys, Paul George and Embiid, can keep some kind of chemistry going somehow, and hopefully they're still working on that. But yeah, that's the problem with it, though. I totally agree, and I feel bad for Nick Nurse because I feel like he's the right coach for this position and the right coach for this team. But it's just Embiid is just holding him back from being the coach that we wanted for this organization. So, but yeah, we could just move on from it.
So take it away, KJ. We're going into Cincinnati, into the jungle, to play the good-looking, handsome devil himself and Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
You nervous? You excited? You a combination of the two?
I'm not nervous. Not really nervous. I do feel like the Bengals have kind of been they've been kind of slow out the gate. It seems like, I mean, they haven't really. I think what's their record right now? They're like, what are they 2-3 right now or something like that. I think they're I forget their record. But they're on the slow rate right now, it seems like. And Burrow has been looking iffy, but he's also been able to get Jamar Chase involved, so that's a good thing. And I think we got to just watch out for that too. We got to watch out for that. I heard that T. Higgins might be questionable. I do know for the Eagles, though, I don't know if you guys heard this, Dallas Goedert will not be playing. It says that he is not going to be playing this weekend, so it seems like we'll be having Calcaterra and Stoll out there manning the ship at the tight end position. It seems like, but yeah, Adult, you're muted.
No, you're good, KJ. I was going to say something when you were done. My
fault. Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting game. I predicted this on the show on Wednesday. I think the Eagles do keep this close. I do think they actually sneak the win. I think they win 26-20. I think they somehow just win by 6 points. And I don't know how, but they're going to win. They're going to actually take the points this time. They're going to take the points. Nick Sirianni is going to be very strategic, and he's going to be smart somehow. I don't know why I'm thinking this, but I think they're going to win 26-20. Now, the defense is not going to have, that much of a dominant defensive performance they had against the Giants. I think the Bengals are going to be a little tougher. The offensive line is going to be a little tougher. So you won't be seeing those young bucks out there getting the, I guess you could say, the activity that they had last week against the Giants with the, I guess, in the sack margin.
Yeah, I'll say this because I got to be a little bit quicker just because we got to wrap up here in a minute. I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be an entertaining game. The Bengals are notoriously a team that the Eagles have struggled against. We all know it, unfortunately. But I think that this is going to be a game that Jalen Hurts sort of plays up to. I was listening to WIP today, and a guy called in and he said it, and I was laughing my ass off at it because it's kind of true. And he said something along the lines of Jalen Hurts plays up to good competition. And when he played Patrick Mahomes, when he played Josh Allen, there was another QB in that list too. I'm drawing a blank on who, but he basically plays up to them. He has something to prove, and he really does. So I think in this game, Joe Burrow being somebody that's so highly respected in his draft class, somebody that was taken, so early, I think he's going to sort of say, okay, you know what? Like, I want to show that I'm on the same level as this guy. I want to show that athletically, like, I can do the same things that he can do. Now, is he on the same IQ, on the same, playing level? Maybe not so much. But does he have the better team? Hell to the yeah. Does Joe Burrow have an A.J. Brown or Saquon Barkley or Devontae Smith? He has Jamar Chase, but he doesn't have that whole fucking grocery list that's going to, feed him for weeks. Jalen Hurts has no excuses. Like, this shouldn't be a close game. I think that this should be at least a 2-score win for the Eagles with what we saw last week. The Bengals defense, I mean, looking at it, there's like 2 guys that I could have told you before are on the team, being Sam Hubbard, their left defensive end, and then Trey Hendrickson, their right defensive end. Other than that, I mean, there's really nobody that we talk about on their Von Bell, maybe. Cam Taylor-Britt, maybe. But, like, ever since Jesse Bates left, the Bengals defense has been pretty much non-existent. So I expect the Eagles offense needs to put up at least 35 points this game, in my opinion. We'll say.
Yeah, I think that you are really, really, really underselling the Bengals. 3 of the 4 Bengals losses came against the Chiefs, Commanders, and Ravens, who are really, really good teams. So
who is the other one?
This is a really tough game, and the Eagles have never won in Cincinnati at all. Yeah. So it's not going to be an easy game whatsoever. The Bengals, their defense, on paper isn't great, but I feel like they play up to, like, they play better than what the talent shows. So it's going to be a little bit tougher game than you expect. They got really big defensive ends, so it might be a little bit tougher to run against them, which means you're going to have Jalen Hurts beat you. You're going to have Jalen Hurts carry you. And really, the last 2 games they've won haven't been because of Jalen Hurts. It's been because of the run game. So I hope it's a little bit different. Defense needs to get pressure on Burrow. They can't just let him sit back there and throw to Jamar Chase all day. I see it being like a really low-scoring, close game, like a 21-17 type game. But I honestly don't think the Eagles are going to win. I really think Joe Burrow is going to pull this one out. You kind of just can't count out Joe Burrow sometimes. I think he's been a little bit overhated here over the last 2 or 3 years since, they went to the Super Bowl and lost. I think he's a much better quarterback than what he's shown. He's had some injury problems and stuff like that. But, I think Joe Burrow is going to outduel Jalen Hurts here and just sneak out a win.
Yeah, I think you're right. And you're not wrong. Look, I'm not trying to undersell the Bengals, but I do think that just their defense, the Eagles should. That's the problem.
But will they? That's the main question. Will they?
We'll find out. One other thing to keep an eye on too, guys, is the brothers will be playing in Sydney and Chase Brown. So that'll be kind of fun to watch with Sydney being on defense. Yeah. Chase has already seen that, Chase is starting this week at running back for the Bengals. So that's pretty cool. Congratulations to his brother. He is fast as shit. I saw where that speed came from on the pick 6. But it's going to be a good game. So if you guys aren't doing anything, please come out, check out the 302 Birds post-game show after to complain or rejoice, whatever you want to do, whatever the hell happens, because in Philly sports, we get a whirlwind of emotions. But we're going to actually wrap it there just because I have some family members coming over here in a couple minutes. But I want to thank both these guys for hopping on tonight. I want to thank all you guys, our fans, for coming on, checking in this Saturday morning. If you guys haven't, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all those little things, like I always say, really help us a ton. So if you haven't, or if you're new here, please do that. Please, please, please. And follow us on Instagram at Sippin' Sports. You can find all of our personal Instagrams on there to follow all of us, but follow us on Instagram at Sip N, like the letter N pod. But that's all we got. So other than that, hope you guys have a good weekend, and we're out of here.
Go Birds.